Silver isn't always just metal silver. In 1980, it didn't just rise. It didn't climb like a trend. It didn't perform like an ordinary investment vehicle. It snapped. It flew. It shot up like a rocket that forgot gravity. And then gravity slapped it back down. It shattered. And what followed was a deep silence. Most people imagine crashes the same way every time. Slowly, it drops a little, recovers, then drops again, as if the market would act mercifully. But history is not merciful. Some crashes don't knock on the door. They break it down and walk in. History has shown us again and again. When something reaches its end, it rarely ends politely. It happens suddenly. It hurts. And the most terrifying thing is this. The human mind only realizes that moment has arrived after it has already seen the wreckage. Today, silver is trending again. The charts won't stop. Screens are glowing. Headlines are multiplying. New bull season. A new peak is coming. While gold collapses, silver will fly. But something doesn't sit right. Something feels off. And I'm going to ask you one question. Has this play been performed before? Yes, it had in 1980. And the problem is this. 99% of the crowd doesn't know how that play ends because the ending isn't written on the screen. The ending is written in people's accounts. If you don't know what silver did in 1980, you won't understand what it can do in 2026 either. So today, we're going to open a time machine. We're going back to 1980. But for a second, breathe. Silver isn't just a metal. Silver is a signal. Sometimes silver is a fear thermometer. Sometimes it's the first mirror that shows a crack in the system. And sometimes, when everything looks fine, silver is the first thing that stirs. Because silver is the metal of silent panics. If you like crisis stories, do one small thing now. Like the video and subscribe. Because what I'm about to tell you is the kind of thing people least want to hear. But life has a bitter rule. The things you don't want to hear are often the vital things that can save you. 1980. Why did silver go crazy? Now let's take a short trip to the late 1970s. Inflation in America was high. The dollar was melting like an ice cream. Grocery prices were being rewritten almost hourly. Rents had already taken off. Oil shocks had hit. And people were starting to think, this system isn't protecting me. And in times like that, people show the same reflex. They run without even looking back. But where? Stocks? Uncertainty. Real estate? Not everyone can get in. Bonds? A joke when inflation is raging. That leaves two shelters. Gold and silver. Gold is always described as the king. But silver gets angry faster. It runs faster. It jumps higher. And yes, it intoxicates more easily because silver is open to speculation. What happened in 1980 wasn't just people bought silver. What happened in 1980 was this. A group of people, or just two names, believed they could control the market. And that belief is the tombstone of many fortunes in this world. Those names, the Hunt brothers. The Hunt brothers piled into silver so heavily, the market's nervous system broke. Supply tightened. Price exploded. Headlines blew up. And one single thought grew in people's minds. Is silver running out? No one can stop silver. This time is different. Write this down somewhere. This time is different. That sentence is the most expensive sentence in history. And it's not expensive by accident. How does a crash begin and why no one wants to see it? Crashes don't usually arrive screaming. They don't sound like a war siren. Most of the time, a crash comes like a silent snake. It comes like an exam. It comes like a rules update. In 1980, right in the middle of the drunken high, the system basically told silver, stop, because the price was no longer rising. The price was practically flying. And if the price is uncontrolled, to the market it means one thing. Danger. Exchanges set limits. Regulators tightened margin requirements. They cut off the air of those buying silver with credit. And right here, something begins that most people can't see. What carries the price upward is usually not money. It's leverage. It's debt. It's easy profit. When leverage is pulled back, it's not only prices that fall. People fall. Because in a drop, an investor doesn't just take a loss. If their collateral isn't enough, selling becomes mandatory. This is not a choice. This is not a plan. This is an obligation. And its name is clear. Margin call. When the margin call chain starts, logic exits the brain. Panic takes over, and panic makes everything equal. It crushes the strongest and the weakest. That's exactly what happened in 1980. Silver saw the peak, and then suddenly, no one understood what was happening. While people were thinking, why did it fall? The market had already turned into wreckage. Because a crash usually isn't in the headline. A crash happens behind the screen, behind the curtain, in liquidity, in credit, in collateral, in invisible string. And when those strings snap, what follows is like an abandoned town, only silent. People don't just lose price, they lose trust. The real lesson of 1980, it wasn't silver that collapsed, it was trust. Everyone talks about price. What did it go from? How far did it fall? Who won? Who got wiped out? But the real issue is not price. The real issue is this. Did this story show us the true face of the system? Yes, it did. And in a brutally merciless way. What we understood very clearly, if a price move looks natural, most of the time it isn't. There is a force. There is manipulation. There is an illusion. And the moment the illusion breaks, the price returns to its real level. That real level is not merciful at all. Most people see this drop as an opportunity. But some drops are not opportunities. Some drops are wreckage. What happened in 1980 wasn't only silver falling. It wrote this into the heart of a generation. The direction of money is human psychology. And once psychology falls apart, Charts are not just lines. Charts are human life, a home's livelihood, someone's debt, someone's sleep, someone's no longer existing future. 4. So why are we hearing the same word again today? Now, let's get back in the time machine and return to the present. Today isn't 1980, but we carry the same feeling. Debt is heavy, inflation is still high, trust in central banks is fragile to the point of breaking, geopolitical risks are rising, and people are searching for the same thing again, real money. And silver steps onto the stage again because gold feels far away. Silver's closer, cheaper, more accessible. But this is exactly where the danger begins. Because while silver can look like an opportunity, it can also be a sinking ship that the crowd piles into. The ending of a crowded trade is usually similar. The ship sinks, the chance of escape is low, and when panic begins, everyone starts thrashing at the same time. 5. Where does the break happen? Not in the metal, in the mechanism. Everyone asks, will silver fly again like 1980? The way the question is asked is quite wrong. The right question is this: if silver flies, what is the source of the thing that makes it fly? And if that thing is pulled back, how severe will the drop be? Because the issue is not just demand. The issue is how demand is financed. Demand that grows with debt, positions swollen with leverage, hope grown with derivatives is not solid. It's made of an iceberg. An iceberg looks beautiful and it melts horribly. In volatile assets like silver, the top is not a number. The top is a feeling. It won't fall anymore. And when that feeling arrives, the drop has already begun and it's already too late to move. Near future scenario. This is how the crash comes. Close your eyes and picture it. A calm day. Monday morning. Silver has been rising for weeks. On TV, an anchor says, a new record is coming. This time, no one can stop it. Silver will fly. And then something happens. It doesn't have to be huge. Sometimes it's a statement. Sometimes a rate decision. Sometimes a regulation. Sometimes war news. Sometimes simply liquidity being pulled away. Before anyone understands what's happening, price drops 5%, then 8%, then 10%. And the rest comes like a row of dominoes. The leveraged ones sell immediate. The forced ones sell immediate. And in the end, the weakest link, the panicked ones sell. They don't call it a crash. They call it a correction. But calling it a correction is often a mask. Because for many people, this correction is a life correction. And at that exact moment, no one remembers the past, 1980, because they don't know it. And because they don't know it, they repeat the same mistake. But this is no longer a mistake. It's a choice. And some choices are extremely risky. What's the real lesson? The lesson is not, don't buy silver. That would be childish. The lesson is not, silver will definitely rise. That would be a fairy tale. The lesson is this: when you see a rally, ask this first. Who is financing this rally? Because everything in markets has a price. And that price comes later. In 1980, that price came. It came fast. It came heavy. If the same mechanism is being built today, the result will be similar. Maybe not with the same dates, but with the same psychology. And psychology does not change. Human nature is constant. This video is not giving you a price prediction. This video is giving you something, a framework for thinking. If you've made it this far, you've earned it. Write one word in the comments: signal. Because silver is not a metal, it's a signal. And those who see the signal are usually not the ones left until the very end. Final word: a throne can change in a week. Britain's currency lost its throne in a week. Britain's currency lost its throne in a week. Silver shone like a star in 1980 and then slammed into the ground. People always make the same mistake. They look at the chart and think it's the future, but the chart is the shadow of the past, and the past catches the unwary again. I'm telling you this. This is not an era of easy money. This is not an era of easy stories. This is an era of staying awake.